Graves' disease. 5 sensible points about Graves' disease. The first one is introduction. Graves' disease is an autoimmune thyroid condition which causes thyrotoxicosis. Okay, so yes, that's the first point. Second point is the pathology. There are antibodies produced against three most important things of the thyroid, coming under the thyroid physiology. Okay, first one is TPO, otherwise called the thyroid peroxidase, which is basically the enzyme which is needed for the synthesis of thyroid at each and every basic level. For example, to take up uptake, to convert, take up iodine and to convert iodine to the functional form which is utilized for the synthesis of thyroid hormones. To add up this iodine to form monoiodotyrosine and diiodotyrosine. To join these in permutations and combinations to form T3 and T4. For literally every single step, we need this enzyme called thyroid peroxidase. All right. So that is there. So antibodies to TPO is also going to cause Graves' disease. That's just one among the three things against which antibodies are produced. Second one is thyroglobulin. Thyroglobulin is some kind of a binding protein which is essential for or kind of like a raw material for the synthesis of thyroid hormones. So that's thyroglobulin. Antibodies to that are also found in Graves' disease, and then TSH receptor against antibodies. So it can be a thyroid stimulating immunoglobulin or a TSH receptor inhibiting immunoglobulin. So it can be both, okay, stimulating and also inhibitory. So antibodies are found to be against TPO, that is thyroid peroxidase, and thyroglobulin, and a TSH receptor in TSH receptor antibodies like TSI and TBII. TSI stands for thyroid stimulating immunoglobulin. TBII stands for thyroid binding inhibitory immunoglobulin. Okay, so antibodies to TPO is seen in 50 to 80% of the patients, and antibodies to thyroglobulin is seen in 50 to 70% of the patients. Against TSH receptors seen in 80 to 95% of the patients' case of Graves' disease. Moving on to the clinical features, all the clinical features of hyperthyroidism will be present. Check out my other video which has 10 sensible points about the clinical features of hypertension. It's a really good video. I wouldn't tell you otherwise. If it is bad, I wouldn't tell you. That's what I meant. Clinical features as such for Graves' disease, we are looking at three main symptoms, which means we're going to call that triad. The triad is hyperthyroidism and the eye thing and the skin thing. For eye thing, it's ophthalmopathy, and the skin thing is dermopathy, and hyperthyroidism features in general, everything will be there, okay? Dermopathy, by and large, is only seen in case of Graves' disease. Like it's a specific thing. The dermopathy is seen only for Graves' disease, not the other types of hyperthyroidism. Just remember this main point. Okay, so Graves' disease causes hyperthyroidism. It doesn't mean that all hyperthyroidism is going to be Graves' disease. It doesn't. The contrary isn't true. Okay, so it's just Graves' disease will cause hyperthyroidism because of all these things. These antibodies are going to bind to the respective shit like receptors and stuff, and going to stimulate the thyroid gland and increase the function. So increase the function of the thyroid gland is hyperthyroidism, right? And moving on to the investigations for Graves' disease, obviously it's a hyperthyroidism, so we are expecting T3, T4, which are the which are the thyroid hormones. They are high in hyperthyroidism, and as a compensatory mechanism, the pituitary tries and reduces the TSH level. So the T3, T4 are high and TSH is low in case the investigations are done. Complications, we are going to divide it into 5 groups of complications. First one is cardiovascular, second is with the breast, third is eye, fourth is the bone, fifth is the thyroid itself. So let's start from the heart. So in the heart there will be angina and high output cardiac failure. Initially there was low output cardiac failure which was happening, but then it moves on to form a high output cardiac failure and also angina. Second is in the breast, there will be gynecomastia, and third there is ophthalmopathy, and fourth there is osteoporosis, and fifth there is thyroid storm. So these are the 5 complications which are causing Graves' disease. As a quick recap, let's see autoimmune thyroid. Okay, the first point is it's an autoimmune thyroid disease. Second, we know antibodies are seen against TPO, TG, and TSH receptor. Third, we saw the triad of clinical features like the hyperthyroidism, dermopathy, and ophthalmopathy. Fourth, we saw investigations T3, T4 high, TSH low. 5, we saw the complications in the bone, heart, breast, eye, and thyroid. Thank you.